Okay, we should be live.
All right. Let me take a look. And you have to share that link out to oh, looks like we're live. No, that's hold on. Go to independent characters. Oh, live. I don't see it live.
It is.
Oh, Shell says she sees it. She sees it. Oh, I do see it. Okay. All right.
I'm not seeing the link now, though. That's the
I can share the link.
Okay, cool. If you want to get that, yeah, to Facebook and Discord.
I'm muting a bunch of stuff. Boom. There we go. Yeah, let me post that up. We should write these notes down for how we do this.
Yeah. It's like, why couldn't I see the live option from the main computer?
Well, we're going to do it more frequently too, so we'll have a better hang on it.
On the plus side, we have no zeros yet because we haven't posted the link.
Yeah. Posting it now. She'll laugh at something over there. Only 13 minutes late.
Hey, that's not bad. It's not good, but it's not bad.
It's not good. Next time will be. There we go.
Yeah, of course. Having figured all this out a couple weeks ago, I'm like, dang it, can't remember how to do that.
I had forgot that we had to go in and add data into YouTube.
Yeah, we have to copy the data from YouTube into Riverside. I'm wondering if it's actually the same every time. We might not have to do that every time. We just have to make sure that it is selected.
All right. Well, what are you working on? What are you painting right now?
I'm actually going to be working on decals for today.
Ooh,
doing the Legions Imperialis. As you can see, my tiny tanks here have about 12 tanks that are all painted and ready for decals. And then I can do a final oil wash next week.
I got to tell you, I was getting pretty good at decals. Like I'm getting pretty good at when I was initially doing them. I was having problems with them folding over and that kind of thing. But now I've gotten it down to where I set the decal. Are you recording, by the way? You did record. Where I set, I still have, I can tell when the decal is loose on the paper.
Yeah.
And once it's loose on the paper, I take the paper and place it over where I'm putting the decal and then slide the decal directly off the paper onto the location. And then you can push it around with the micro saw or set or whichever. Number one.
Yeah, number one. Okay, I'm going to grab just a couple reference tanks so I can match the existing decals that I did. And then I'm cooking with gas.
All right.
One of these.
But I just did that.
What'd you just do?
Recovering my password for my.
Oh boy. A bunch of technical stuff.
Never good.
It's all right. I don't think there's anybody in there yet anyway. They probably gave up on us because we were late.
We have two of them, one of which is probably Shell.
One of them's Shell. That's okay.
Hey, we got Alex Wilson from Australia. Welcome.
Holy smokes. Where in Australia?
Friday morning.
Alex, where in Australia are you? That would be very interested to know that. As Shell and I are about to go Brisbane. The one place we're not going, Shell. The one place we are not going, we have about 30 days or so. These are magnetized. I'll take these off. 30 days or so, and then we are off to Sydney. And we will be in Sydney and in Melbourne for the Formula One race. And then we're going over to Perth to hang out with our friends Craig and Kelly. And we're also going up to where are we going, Shell?
Somewhere in the Gold Coast.
The
town.
Is that what's called the Gold Coast? I think that's what it's called.
It's in the Gold Coast.
Yeah,
area.
and we're going to see the Australian Zoo. Yeah, Shell is big into zoos.
You said that's
exactly where we're going, Alex.
the Steve Irwin founded zoo?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Nice.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
he's a hero of Shell's, so she's very excited about that. Hey, Greg. Ooh, episode 1 listener. Well, Zach wasn't on episode 1. I don't think he joined us till like episode
10.
15, something like
yeah.
that. Yeah, but I appreciate the enthusiasm. Yeah, so you know what I'm doing here, Josh, is you can see I am doing all my edging on this Land Raider now.
Nice.
And I'm using, what am I using? Thrash metal for the edging here off the black. I kind of like the way the silver.
Is that
And then I'm going to do a little
scale
spongy.
75 or is that a
It is.
Fanatic?
It is.
Yeah.
That's scale 75.
That's so I need
which,
to get
I really
a metal that's darker like that because mine are just a little bit too bright or a little bit too dark, and that's a really nice medium metal.
Yeah. Yeah. They have their metals their metallics are so good.
So good.
Their metallics are so good. Okay. So I got a couple of topics I want to discuss with you. Which are not podcast related, meaning, oh shit, that's too much juice. Not podcast related in terms of like t-shirts and stuff, although those are coming up. So I want to talk to you about perfect being the enemy of done. And
it absolutely
what
is.
I mean by what I mean by that though in this particular case is so we played a team game which you guys will hear about on our next episode. And in that team game it was Bryce who's a longtime friend, and Aaron and Josh and myself playing a game. And it was mostly to kind of prep, I think, Aaron for Adepticon team tournament stuff, right? He has not had a lot of experience playing. If you're going to Adepticon, you're playing Aaron. Yeah, you can chalk up that win right now.
Yeah, I mean, he and I were both playing pretty new factions for the edition. I haven't played a lot of Necrons yet. Obviously, 40k is pretty second nature for me, but
Aaron hasn't played much.
I needed to test my list because I hadn't played a game with the Necrons since the new Codex dropped, so that was great practice.
Well, the Necrons worked pretty well.
Funny story, it worked as intended for me.
Yeah. Now, granted, we were like, we got to get Abaddon and this guy into a fight just to see what happens. It happened. Okay, so anyway, my point was, I was going to play Tyranids along with Bryce, who was playing Tyranids, and you guys were like, well, do you have 1,000 points of Black Legion yet? And I was like, you know what? I have if I put Abaddon into the list, which normally I wouldn't put Abaddon into 1,000-point list, but I was like, let's do it. The list wasn't a good one. It wasn't a good one, Josh. It had 2 rhinos in it and 3 5-man squads, and I mean it wasn't the best list. But anyway, my point being, once I got the list on the table and I started playing with it, I was like, oh my god, I really want to play these guys more often.
Yeah.
And so in order to do so, I gotta get them painted. So that kind of lit a fire under my butt, man. Like, I'm glad I kind of did that, because I've been painting the hell out of Black Legion lately. Like, I've gotten a lot done. in the last-
exactly why I asked you. It's like, hey, do you have a 1,000-point list of Black Legion ready to go? Because you've been painting a lot, and it'll be fun to play.
Well, I
and we
painted a
already
lot
doing
more
such
after that.
Yeah, we already had such a funky pairing of armies with Grey Knights and Necrons.
It didn't really
and
matter.
Chaos and Necrons. Like,
That it
the
didn't
theme
really
was
matter.
practice.
So yeah. So my point here, though, is that I looked back when I first started talking about doing this list. Did I tell you what year it was?
I think you said 2017.
2017, dude.
I'm actually just gonna
Yeah,
go lower.
Greg,
This camera.
Black Legion is your 8-year army. Very close. Very close to 8 years. Man, I'm getting a lot of lag over here for some reason. I don't know why. Anyway, yeah. So I looked at 2017 and I was quite frankly embarrassed. I was like, holy smokes, how has this gone on this long? Now, some of that has been that as I've started to try to do the painting, like we had the latest was we had Cat and Caleb come over, and Caleb was like, oh, have you thought about doing this with blue instead of the way you're doing this? And I'm like, oh my gosh, I should do that with blue instead of the way I'm doing it. And so I ran into a bunch of kind of start and stop situations where I was like, well, I want it to be perfect. And, it's never going to be perfect. It's never going to be perfect. And so I decided good enough, and I'm going for it. And so I just started just blasting out a bunch of these guys to the point where, man, I'm almost to 2,000 points now, almost to my list of what I had set as my kind of starting list. Now, I don't know if that list is going to be any good come the codex coming out. Probably not, right? But I feel like I can quickly begin adding to it as well. So my point there, I think the whole, call it the moral of the story is, what's that funny for? The moral of the story for me is, just do it. Like Nike says, just do it.
As a creative professional, I've always felt that my best work is always yet to come. Like, the next project is always going to build upon the foundation of experience and creativity and problems that I've solved and things like that. And same thing for a painting project like this, right? Like, your best work is always yet to come until you get to that point where, you can't hold a paintbrush steady, or your eyes have, gone, or it's like, when we all hopefully have a long time before any of that happens. So yeah, get it on the table. Progress begets progress. Games definitely help inspire that progress.
Yeah, for sure. So I was glad you guys forced me to do that, because that has really got me moving fast here.
Lit the fire. Yeah, you've been prolific. You've done a lot.
Yeah. It's going to be nice to actually have a hobby progress section where I'm like, I have done more than everybody. So that's cool. And now
next show, lots of games played and lots of hobby. We're gonna need to shorten our segments. Our topic.
Yeah, because man, that next topic is, you saw the show notes.
Oh yeah, that's a robust.
Yeah, it's going to be I think it's a really good discussion, though. I mean, I had to do a lot of self-reflection. The whole topic is collecting, and what are the benefits and drawbacks. And boy, as I was going through what the drawbacks are and looking, online around what is the psychology around completionism and, collecting and how it can get out of hand. And I was like, I am guilty of so much of this. And I think fostering it amongst other people, which I feel really bad about.
You're a pusher.
I'm a pusher, man. But you're not even pushers. What's the first rule of they tell selling drugs?
Don't do them.
Don't use your own product.
Yeah, don't smoke your own stash.
That's right. And holy smokes, I've clearly smoked my own stash. Carl Tuttle smoking his own stash. I don't even use drugs. Maybe I should. Yeah, I shouldn't.
Hey,
Certainly
they
shouldn't
call it
sell 'em. That'd
plastic
be
crack
terrible.
for a reason, right?
Yeah. So anyway, so that was kind of my first topic here that I wanted to talk about. It was just I wanted to bring up the fact that, man, I have put this off for so long. It kind of became like intimidating, right? Like I kind of got in my own head about it.
Yeah.
About I really want it to be this, the culmination of everything I have learned so far. The problem too is when you're not painting, you're starting to lose those skills. And so,
yeah, absolutely. You get a little rusty.
And so the fact is, culmination of all the skills I've lost. So now I'm just blasting through it. I'm very excited about where it's going though. And I thought they looked really good on the table.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I thought, Josh, my photos never look good of the miniatures that I have painted. Like I look at them in hand and I'm like, oh, my miniatures look great. I'm going to post these pictures. And I'm like, holy crap, what happened in these pictures? But I look at guys like Dave Roberts from Dave Paints who posts his stuff. Clearly he's got miniature photography down a bit too, because he's selling a product, but man, my pictures always make my models look terrible. And I always feel like I have to justify it. Like I have to be like, here's the picture of what I've painted. It really looks better in person.
Doing miniature photography is it's a whole other separate thing. And this is coming from a professional photographer.
Yes.
Like that. If I put the effort into getting it set up and dialing the lighting and things like that, yes, I can get some good results. Most of the time, I'm just doing quick and dirty photos like everybody else.
With my iPhone,
with an iPhone, right? Because that's what's convenient and sometimes good enough. Yeah, you know what? Perfect is the enemy of done. Same thing there.
That's true too. That can
Sometimes
probably
good enough
carry
is
over.
good enough as far as like if I'm just trying to share a quick photo.
I'm not going to name any names. But I used to listen to a podcast a long time ago. And these individuals would talk about painting their models and blah, blah, blah. And so I went and played with some of these guys at one point. And they had talked about how they painted their models. And then the individual I was playing put their models on the table. And I was like, really? That's it? That's what you've been talking about? And that's always kind of don't get high on your one supply, says Greg. I'm not trying to sound like a jerk. That does sound kind of jerky, like what I just said. But it was like they had talked it up so much that I was kind of like, oh man, I hope my stuff is going to stand up. And then I looked at what they had done and I was like, oh, okay. And it just, that always stuck with me in terms of, I don't want people, when I'm talking about how much effort I'm putting into painting something, like I don't want people to then look at it and go, that's it. That's what you've been talking about, which is probably what they'll do with my Black Legion now once they see it. But I don't know. I'm pretty happy with the way it's turning out. So
yeah, it looks great. Painting is such a, obviously there's different skill levels, but it's not a competition unless you're literally entering into a painting competition. It's not a competition. So it's like, run your own race, paint what you're comfortable with, push yourself where you want to. What looks good to you looks good. You'll if you're sticking in this hobby for a year, like I've been painting for 30 plus years and I'm way better than I used to be. And it's the incremental progress and progression. So every time I approach a new project, it's like, hey, where can I push myself? Where can I grow?
You also, there was there's that whole article that went out. I think Loopy posted it at one point. It was all about not worrying about being good at something you enjoy. You know, it's like just enjoy it for what it
Yeah.
is. I'm like, that's a really good point too. So anyway,
And it is absolutely okay to be terrible at something new. Like enjoy
Yeah.
that
Cannot.
learning process and the curve, and be bad at something, which most of us don't do just professionally or whatever
Yeah.
reason.
You gotta move. Stop.
Who are you telling to stop over there? Sorry.
Jenna is all over the microphone.
The cat's jumping up on the thing. Yeah.
The nice thing about painting and hobbying is it's a very safe place to fail, right? If it's
that's
something
true.
doesn't turn out and you're like, you know what, I want to push myself to do that better. Like you can absolutely do that. You can get another bottle, you can strip it, whatever.
You know what?
paint over it.
Painted looks great on the table. What
Yep.
and I have to admit, I'm kind of excited to put models on the table that I painted again,
Yeah,
as opposed
yeah.
to commissioned, right?
Absolutely. You get the
Okay.
the pride of a job well done, and yeah, 100%. Okay.
Greg Gonzalez, the best camera is the one you have in your hands. Matt says,
100%.
Matt
That's
Israel,
completely true.
the worst is when you take pics and they come out looking weird, and then later people see your army and they seem surprised how nice it looks. You know what? I would prefer that to the alternative, which is, you take pics and then people look at your army and they go, "Oh, it looks better in the picture."
I would say that's the rare chance.
Yeah.
I mean, when I'm taking the time to doing the
pretty good.
a full-on photography setup, that's where I'm. It's really in the
Yeah.
photos that I'm seeing all the shortcuts that I've taken and the mistakes that I've made, and that inspires me to do better.
I took a bunch of pictures of the Gilliman that Dave Roberts painted, the Horus that Israel Sanchez painted. I'm drawing a blank on the name right now because I can't look, but the Dread Knight that another wonderful person donated for the Table War charity stuff, and I sent those over to Todd, and I did a little photo editing on them just so that it looked a little more professional. I was actually pretty happy, and I used the Table War. Josh, I used the Table War.
She's a macromat.
The macromat.
Macromat.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that thing works pretty good too.
Yeah, it does.
You got your fancy spinning table.
Oh yeah, I got the fancy spinning table up.
Nice.
The little
your lazy Susan for models.
Yeah, the automatic. I didn't have it moving or anything. I just showed. So okay.
Yeah, models on a dark background like that too, depending on which macromat you have. Just that nice contrast really lets you light the model and let the background fall away, which really just lets the model shine on its own, which is a nice.
I have noticed a lot of people have shifted to taking photos of their models against black backgrounds, but then sometimes it's so dark. Like, I wonder if they're trying to hide mistakes with the darkness, but it also gets so dark that I can't really see the details on the model sometimes. I think there's a little bit of leaning that direction lately. I'm not saying take them against white background. I actually prefer the black background, but sometimes
the model definitely too pops more with the contrast, as long as there's enough light in there.
Yeah. Okay, so the next topic I had listed here, like I said, I jotted down a few topics, and some of these I had kind of come up with for potential show topics, but I didn't feel they were deep enough for an entire show. So, is the role of music in your 40K hobby? And I know other people have talked about this too, but I don't think that deserves an entire podcast episode about. But this kind of came up as a suggestion, and it was funny. I was thinking about it. I'm like, oh yeah, every time we're playing, like I run through a Bluetooth speaker 40K music. Like I have music from there was a CD that came out when I was at Warhammer World. It was the Sounds of Warhammer World, and they have all these different audio tracks and like sound effects, like fighting and explosions and that kind of thing. I dig that one. But then I also have like the soundtrack from Space Marine the game, Dawn of War, a few things.
Sets the ambiance.
I think it does.
Yeah.
I have it set to a level where it kind of gets tuned out after a while, but every now and then it pops into my focus. I think if it's too loud, it gets distracting to me.
Yeah.
Like if you go play with Justin's gonna play like some ghost or death metal or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm just like, I can't do that. Number one, not my flavor of music. More Hall and Oates kind of guy. That's not really true, but I mean, I do like some Hall and Oates.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with Hall and Oates.
Hey, we saw him in concert.
We did.
Nice.
We did, right, Shell?
Yep. It was fun.
And we saw him as kind of a joke initially because a friend of mine at work, his name's Sarah, and she was telling me this story about this guy who would always tell her to smile at work. And
right.
she's the head of HR.
She's the head of HR.
And she did not like, as a woman, being told to smile. And she was like, and the guy would come in and he'd be like, smile, Sarah, smile. And finally she's like, listen, I don't know if you're saying that because of the Hall and Oates song or if you're just telling me to smile, but either way, knock it off. I was like, oh my God, And so every time I'd walk by her cubicle, I'd be like, smile, Sarah, smile. But she knew I was like doing it to joke along with her. It's so interesting. The context can be different. But so then Hall and Oates were actually coming to concert. And I was like, oh my God, let's go see this concert, Sarah. And so Sarah and myself and Shell and a couple other friends from work all went and saw it. It was fun.
It was fun.
Nice. Good stuff.
Oh my God. Edge highlighting blows. Okay.
Lots of it.
It's go ahead, what did you say, Sean?
Man-eater is a pretty good theme for NIDS.
Who said that?
Rob Tibbetts.
Rob Tibbetts. That's true.
It's all about that biomass.
Yeah.
It's funny you asked the question about music because with the return of the old world specifically, I've noticed myself going back to music that I was listening to in the 90s when I was just painting mass armies of rank and flank, just
really
files of troops. Yeah, and like there's that. It's like not only a nostalgic thing, but it's also just this kind of like psychological connection of like that game and this particular series of albums that I would just listen to on repeat, painting hundreds of models. So I've definitely like just immediately kind of went back and started listening to that as I was kind of playing with lists and thinking about old world. And it just like, there's this connection that was completely subconscious until I go ahead.
Are you already painting old world stuff?
I have all of the models that I need, but I have not started painting yet. That's definitely, I want to finish at least my 2,000 points of Sharkadons before I jump into painting.
I gotta tell you.
And then it's going to be kind of mixing in between old world and Eldar.
Are we going to have to do special segments on the show about old world? That's kind of diverging from our core topic.
No, it's not 40K. If you're not playing it, I'll keep it to a minimum.
All right. Oh my goodness.
It's not the core, so that's
no. I've always kind of maintained that we stick with just the 40K universe.
Yep, and I'm all for that. Oh,
this is no Lords and Heroes.
Exactly. Not that exists anymore either.
No. That all came from a joke too.
It did.
That was the joke that we were going to call it Lords and Heroes. Let's listen to how Carl didn't do any hobby progress in Warhammer Fantasy as well as 40K. All right. So anyway, what do you think music-wise? Like, so you said about while you're modeling.
Yeah.
But what
music
about
for me
actually
is
playing?
Stronger connection for hobbying, and this is obviously since I have been in the hobby so long, more from a time that predated audiobooks and podcasts. That's mostly what I'm listening to. occasionally I will. Maybe it's 50-50 these days if it's audiobook, podcast, or just music. Gameplay wise, I definitely listen to more music playing board games to kind of set the theme that way, and
Okay.
less so war game wise for tabletop.
Interesting.
And not entirely sure why. Maybe just don't have a as setup of a sound system in my space.
Or do you think you're just focused on what you're doing? Like,
I'm definitely pretty focused when I'm playing a game. So for me, even if music is on, it's more just kind of white noise at that point.
Yeah.
It could just be because I get pretty focused when I'm playing a game.
One of the other differences is when you're hobbying, you're typically alone.
That's true.
When you're gaming, there's right, someone across the table from you.
That's true.
Or you're in a gaming space where there's lots of other conversations.
That's a really good point. That's a really good
Excellent point.
Like it's super noticeable if I'm painting and there's no other ambient sound around.
Yeah.
So usually I'll
just
put on YouTube
left alone
videos
with your thoughts, and
nobody wants that. Nobody wants that.
It can be cathartic.
Horrifying right now. Okay. Yeah. I'm curious if other people in the channel listen to music while they play a game, while they're playing 40K or Necromunda or whatever. And kind of, it's interesting. 40K also has like this, there's like people like to set like the kind of music Justin listens to 40K. Like that.
Yeah.
Seems to be like, oh yeah, it's got to be, some pretty hard metal
because
kind
it's
of
chaotic. Right?
I guess so. Yeah, I guess so.
Chaotic music for chaotic.
It's going to be heavier in general for sure.
Yeah, I'm saying I'm not saying like Hall & Oates is good music for 40K. But I tend to listen. I like soundtrack music. Like one of the ones that, and I remember I went into
more cinematic.
Yeah, exactly. And I went into a GW store a long time ago when it was at the mall near here, the Oak Ridge Mall, and they were playing some cool music, and I was like, "What is this?" And the guys are like, "Oh, this is the soundtrack to Black Hawk Down." And I was like, "Oh, this is really cool." So I actually have some tracks from that. I have a mix on my I have a playlist on my iPhone that I just run while we're playing. It goes through.
I did used to put the Lord of the Rings soundtrack on, probably more than anything else.
Yeah, I love that soundtrack. I love that soundtrack so much.
Yeah, more like fantasy game systems, but when I would put something on, that would tend to be my go-to more than anything else.
Yeah, it makes sense. All right. That's why that's a topic that does not require an entire podcast.
Because you're done.
Because I'm done. I am done discussing this.
Conversation over.
We get a lot of suggestions sometimes for shows. They're like, "Oh, you should do this," and I'm like, "That's not like a full show," especially considering how long our shows are. We should take those topics and make them short YouTube videos.
Yeah,
there you go. And all the time that we're recording these short YouTube videos that we say we're going to do.
Someday.
We'll do it.
Or just save them for
hobby time. Like this.
Like
yeah.
that,
I kind of like this.
That's what this is for.
The next, as I was coming up with topics for episodes, another one that I had thought about was the psychology of faction loyalty. Which is like people get very into their camps, like I know I'm a huge Thousand Sons fan, but I also know I have armies I do not like, but I'll tell you, it's not because of the lore or because of the look of the army in general. It's usually because of my tabletop experiences playing that army.
Just a negative association, or
yeah, I think that's what it is.
Appeal to you.
that is probably more what it is. But like, I'm just not a huge fan of Blood Angels because I've had games against a player that played Blood Angels a lot that I just, for whatever reason, didn't enjoy. And, you know, that's kind of stuck with me. I'm like, I don't like Blood Angels, when in fact, like, I think they're actually a really cool chapter. And they have some really, like, I love the Death Company in Blood Angels, though I hate them on the table because they always thrash my guys when they get in contact with them. Cheyenne is a gorgeous Blood Angels army, though. So maybe it's changing my opinion. Do you have any armies you in particular do not care for, or your loyalty to your Sharkadons there? How deep does that run for you?
I've played so many armies over the years that I'm
no
not
loyalty?
loyal to playing anything specific. I think, like, if you look at the grand scheme of armies, the only ones that I have not played are Sisters of Battle and Tau. I think and obviously some of the newer ones like Custodes and Leagues of Votan. But from a historic standpoint, like, I played every other faction, not necessarily every chapter, but at least, you know, Marines inside of that. I've played Necrons in 2nd edition. I've played Tyranids in 2nd edition. I've played Eldars in 2nd edition.
Yeah, we get it. We get it.
So I have played through many different armies and have enjoyed. For me, it is, I think, more of a play style question.
So what gets you to stop an army? Like, you just get bored of playing it? You sold your Salamanders.
Yeah.
To Steve, if I remember correctly.
For me, I sold the Salamanders mostly because the next Marine army I wanted to do, I really wanted to take to the next level on hobbying, and the Sharkadons are absolutely miles beyond what I did with the Salamanders. That I was playing, like, I painted that army in 5th edition when I was playing in more tournaments, and like ended up painting 30 tactical Marines in like a week, which like completely burnt me out. But also, like, you know, it's not the best. It's not the best painted army. It was a fully painted army, and I had an apocalypse size force out of it. But it's like, I could definitely do better with Marines.
See, and that
the hobby.
leads me back to my kind of first topic there, which was done. You know, what did I call it? Perfect being the enemy of done. One of the things that kept me from moving on this so much was I really wanted to do a great job. And like, if I were to repaint my Ultramarines, which I sold to Austin, you know, I know I could paint them better than I did.
Yeah.
But man, I feel like once you stick a style, you're stuck with that style, right? Like my Tyranids, I think I could probably do a better job than I did on them. I still think they look decent enough. But my point being, I'm stuck within that style now if I'm doing Tyranids, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I do not have, I can't really diverge from that now. Because if I do, they're not going to match up.
Although the flip side of that, which I've found with my Necrons more than anything, is sometimes it is very refreshing to paint an army that is an older army that you're adding stuff to. It's below your current level of effort you're giving into armies, just because it's a refreshing step back in that just how easy it can be or how simple it can. So it gets stuff painted much faster because there's less of that kind of barrier of I got to do all this stuff.
I guess that's true.
And then, you know, when I have an event or something like that, like, again, get ready for Necrons and Adepticon, I'm actually looking at the entire army and be like, oh, you know, I could do like 3 things to all the models in this army that would definitely increase the overall presence of this whole army. Yeah. And now that, like, it's a fully painted force, but I can like go back and start doing some of those additional things.
Give it a glow up.
Exactly.
That's a good point. I was just watching this video by Ninjon, and he was talking about buying used models and how to, improve them without like stripping them entirely. It's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting. He's very talented. That's a very
Yeah.
talented guy there who works very hard
Absolutely.
at his craft. Australia's tabletop wargaming network. I've done the exact same thing with my own Necrons compared to how I've painted my Space Marines Death Watch. Can you elaborate a little bit on that? I think he's talking about stepping it up a bit. Oh man, I broke off a piece of my Land Raider.
Or the opposite with Necrons. Generally, like my Necrons
ring.
are not just a silver, but a lot of Necrons are just a very simple like silver army.
Yeah.
But then you get something with like
Fix
Blood
that.
Angels where you're getting a lot more kind of edge highlights and black power armor and red power armor. And
Blood Angels are like, that's an army that I feel like it's the Blood Angels are so into artistry and stuff. Like that army has to look really good.
And I'll say, like, to the point that I was saying with my Necrons, is Necrons are very easy to get on the table quickly, but there's a lot that you can do to them to keep adding to it. So, like, while my army's fully painted, like, I could go do just a tiny bit of OSL on some of the green glowing effects and add a couple edge highlights here and there as a, just grab a unit at a time and take it to the next level every time.
Yeah.
If I want to. Like,
okay, so he says similar to Josh, painting my Necrons, painting them simpler compared to my Marines or Death Watch. I see what you're saying. I use a lot of washes and tint over bright steel to get some great tones. Yeah, for sure. For sure. I'm going to bring down this Land Raider, the treads are too silver. I'm going to bring in some washes. And actually, I'm thinking of applying some of that Ryza rust stuff to them. And then doing washes over that and see how I get crap.
Are those treads
I have a small
what'd you call that metal you were using?
Thrash metal.
Thrash metal. Are they your treads thrash metal, or did you get something brighter? Yeah.
No, actually I did scale black metal on them.
And you having just attended a tank master class, weathering master class
from Mr. Justin.
From Mr. Justin recently. Are you going to be doing anything with the treads on those?
On these I am. I'm gonna like I said, I'm gonna put some rust on them. I'm gonna then do washes over that, so bring down the shine a little bit. Darn it, I see a problem I'm having here already. I think I did not wash one of these Forge World doors as well as I should have.
So I'm getting a little
coming off
paint
of it.
separation. Yeah.
Yes. Shoot. What am I gonna do there? I think I can fake it with a little bit of sponge weathering over that.
Yeah, I was just going to say you can always weather that if you don't want to.
Yeah, and then once I seal it, it should be okay, but that's a bummer. They must just use that door a lot.
Yeah. Is that the left door?
That's the right door. Damn it.
Oh, yeah. See, that makes more sense.
You can see. I don't know if you can see. It's you can see right here and here that it's kind of the paint has flaked off a little bit there and there. Shoot. That's what? That's my I got too excited and too anxious. I didn't spend enough time on it before I put it into play. I thought I washed it well enough, but clearly did not.
With all the rain we've been getting in California here, I've definitely been rushing a few of my
priming.
Not priming, but more of the varnishing steps in between decals and oil washes and things like that. It's like I just want to paint. I want to get it done.
Well, I got to tell you, I'm super happy with the way the decals have come out on my army. It is looking solid. It's looking solid. And that was kind of a thing, Colin had sat with me and showed me how to do decals when he was doing his Custodes army. And, I'd done decals before, but then they always kind of looked like stickers. They look like decals. And he showed me how to do it. And then it had been so long I'd forgotten how. And I just watched that YouTube video that I posted on the Facebook group. And boy, it works. It works super easy. I'm annoyed that I was intimidated by it for so long because it's not that hard. It's the same with oil washing, right? Like I'm sure it's easy.
Yep.
But
It's
very,
very easy process. Just
but unless you know it, like it's fear of the unknown. Fear of the unknown. Okay.
With painting, especially, you put so much time and love into what you're doing that you don't want to mess it up. And like just in general in life, the thing I hate most is redoing work that I've already done.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I definitely
remember when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I remember when I was a kid and I'd be like weeding my grandmother's yard or something, and I'd be like, "Oh, I'm done," and then she'd come out and be like, "There's more there. There's more there. There's more," and you're like, "Oh!" And I would hate that feeling so much. I would hate that feeling so much. Okay, the other thing I've been talking, we used to do this series called Forbidden Lore on the show, where it was a book club. It was a book club, and so basically we would pick a book, and we'd say next month we're going to cover the book. We'd try to get the author in to come talk with us about the book. I feel like nobody's doing that anymore. Maybe there's other. I don't really listen to other podcasts, so maybe there is. But I was thinking about doing that again. It's not that difficult, and it's pretty fun. I think to talk about the novels you've just read with other people and have them give their opinions. I'm curious if the people in chat have any interest in that kind of content, because I think that would be certainly fun for me, but I don't know. I don't know how popular it was. I remember that was the first time we were doing something like that, and that was the first time I got an interview with Dan Abnett. And oh my God, I was so nervous when we were interviewing Dan. This is before I really knew him, and
that's cool.
Yeah, and like I had all these questions pre-written out, and Jeff is like, "Why do you have all this pre-work done?" I'm like, "Dude, you got to be prepared for this."
So Rob wants to know if you'd stick with a series or kind of bounce around with whatever's come out lately.
That's a good question. If there was a series that I was into, I would stick with the series. Like if a series of like 3 books, I wouldn't want to do the Horus Heresy.
Is too much.
That's biting off way more than I can chew. Especially because I just finished it. I don't want to go back and read it again.
It's only 60 books.
Yeah. It's so funny. Whenever I see, I probably said this on the show before, but whenever I see people who are like, I want to learn about the lore of 40K, and they're like, you should read the Horus Heresy. I'm like, nope.
Don't start there.
You should not start with the Horus Heresy. I used to enjoy when
in the deep end.
What's Greg Gonzalez saying there, Shell?
Shell got her Aldari army.
No, I used to enjoy when Shell got her Aldari army. Not sure how many games she ever played, but the fact that she tried was cool. Oh. You haven't played in a while.
That segues quite well into one of my topics.
Hold on, wait. What were you saying, Shell?
I don't think I have played in multiple editions.
You certainly haven't played 10th, and we didn't play much 9th.
We didn't play 9th
because that was all over COVID, and we should break them out.
Yeah.
You did play. The last time I think you played them, we had played a game of Kill Team.
I didn't play the. Oh, I did play the
on the
Aldaria's Kill Team.
Yeah, or not even Kill Team. We were playing a small game on the Zone Mortalis board I have. That was, I think, the last time you played them. Well, I'll tell you, they're a really good army right now. They're really good. If you ever want to play, let me know. We're usually playing board games right now when you and I are getting together. All right, what was your topic, Josh?
So my question was similar vein with Shell and 40K, having played many games in the past, and 10th edition being in such a good spot for kind of simplicity of gameplay, index reset, and like it kind of seems like the perfect spot to jump back into 40K. So I was curious.
It kind of is.
what
Yeah.
if there was any desire, motivation, hang-ups, etc. It'd be just kind of interesting to hear Shell's perspective on that.
One of my biggest problems with playing is that I can't remember rules or roles or comparisons. Right? Every time I play, it's like I haven't played before. If that makes any sense.
Well, that's because I think part of that's because you don't play often, right?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But my brain just doesn't hold on to those detailed facts for very long.
That's interesting because it holds on to those board game rules pretty good.
There's also
Well,
so much fewer of
then
that
maybe-
with 10th edition now because there's less
Yeah.
of a comparison between, like, you're not comparing weapon skills to each other.
Right.
It's just like, here's your hit number, here's
the number
shoot
you need to hit.
here-
Yeah.
The only one there is strength and toughness, which there still is that comparison.
But that's pretty.
I got remotivated when we went to Adepticon last year.
That's true.
Nice. Yeah.
If we were going to Adepticon this year, she would come back fired up. But
I would.
we'll be in Australia. Not Adepticon, unfortunately. I mean, look, I'm not complaining about going to Australia.
You're going to have a great trip.
I know
are.
we are.
It just
You're
stinks
going to
to,
have a
to
great
miss
trip.
something we totally love to do.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
That's
Yeah.
all. It's the missing out on something.
Yep.
Why not both? Just bad timing. That's how it happens.
Yeah.
It's the timing. Well, I mean, we wanted Australia. We wanted to line up with the Formula One race, so that was what set that date for us.
That's right. That's right.
Otherwise, we probably could have gone at a different time of the year.
For sure. In fact, we would have. Just so happens, I've watched that race at Adepticon.
A couple of
Oh,
times.
yeah.
Yeah. All right. Oh man, I'm really upset about this door flaking off. What can I do to fix that if I wanted to?
Anyways, you're saying, Josh, I am interested in playing again. I am kind of remotivated. We started up on
Nice.
my Night Lord's army.
Yeah.
And I was super excited
Yeah.
about that.
Yep.
And
Then
then
we-
it's
Sitting over
it's
there
gone on a back burner. Or back table as it goes around here.
behind Black Legion.
My Black Legion. Someone else got more motivated than I did.
That's true. And they just came out with those new Night Lords models.
And again, the painting part of the hobby is not a huge draw for me. I'm not terribly interested in.
You know,
Right.
that always
Yeah.
surprised me because you're such a creative person. But yeah, painting the same thing over and over again is sometimes a little bit of a chore. And if it's not fun, I don't do it.
You also do have the fully painted Sheldar army, so
Right.
it's
That's true.
it's just other interests right now between board games or Night Lords just have more appeal for you
I think so.
versus
Board games have
jumping
been
into what
huge.
you got. Yeah,
Board
yeah.
games is pretty.
Which I was never a really board gamer. Jeff always used to he wanted to at one point expand the channel to we should cover board games too. And I'm like, dude, like that's not what our audience is for. And we had a lot of discussions about it. And then
Yeah.
but I just wasn't really there were a few board games I enjoyed. Anything Cthulhu themed I'm kind of down
Yeah.
for. But even there, like the theme has to match the way the game plays for me.
Right.
But since Shell really kind of got fired up about it, I've definitely enjoyed more board games. So
Nice.
yeah. Josh, I suppose I could tape off the rest of the model and try to respray this thing, but I'd have to wash it is the problem. I think I'm kind of hosed. I think I'm
It's
gonna
already
have to just
glued
seal
in the
it.
door.
Yeah. I might be able to pop it out. It's probably not glued in very hard. You got to be careful with these resin doors.
You're getting like your
Didn't you
your
just glue that one in?
Say that again, Shell.
Didn't you just glue that one in?
Yeah, I just did.
Has it
your
been sitting
primer's
long?
actually kind of beating off.
It's come off on a couple areas. I mean, I can fake it and seal it, and I should probably just do that. We'll see.
Yeah,
We'll see
that's
how
cool.
badly it's coming off, and then I'll decide.
Just weather it.
Like if it gets worse, I'll just weather it. Yeah. Hide it under weather.
Yeah.
Hide it under weather. Okay, so I think is anybody else in the chat there expressed any interest in a book club thing, Shell?
Mm-mm.
Nobody said anything.
Mm-mm.
All right. Maybe we'll put that in the old Facebook and Discord group and see if people are interested in doing that again.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I quite enjoyed it, especially when I could get the author on to come talk about it.
Yeah.
I think I had. Oh, so I was telling the story about us getting Dan Abnett on for the first time and how I was like super nervous about it. And then he got on. That was before I realized with Dan, if anybody on the thing is ever going to interview Dan Abnett for anything, this is what you do. You just you ask him a question and then let him talk. he will fill all that space for you. You don't have to worry about asking any more questions. But Jeff was always really good in those interviews because like he would see like the underlying themes of things and in the preface it's this, and then you revisit that at the end, and I'm like, holy smokes, I didn't even realize.
All right, we got a couple of
good critical analysis.
yes to book clubs.
Yes to book clubs.
Yes to book clubs. Let's see. Rob Tibbet says the best intro into 40K lore nowadays is probably some YouTuber like Luton or Voldemort.
Yeah. That's
And
probably
yes,
true.
get the author David French.
David French?
No, John French.
John French.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Greg, it's John French.
We know John.
Yeah, we're pretty good friends.
Soon
with
to
John.
be featured on a Patreon episode.
Yeah, I'm actually talking to him Tuesday. It was supposed to be this Tuesday, but he had to cancel last second. But we're chatting Tuesday about the live play stuff we've been doing. It's too bad Alan's not around. It'd be Alan. Alan was fun to listen to. Shell said
Alan was definitely fun.
Yeah. Shell said she could listen to Alan read a dictionary. He did have a great voice.
He did. He could just, we went out to dinner with him and I had not really any clue the context of what they were talking about.
Yeah.
And I was fully enraptured to listening.
Yeah.
But it
had one of those voices.
Yeah, he was awesome.
Yep.
He was awesome. I'm gonna sneeze. Excuse me. Yeah. We went with Alan and John, right?
To dinner.
To dinner?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That time.
Yeah, that time. And we played the board games with
John and Ed.
John and Ed. Yeah. I always feel like we played Conan.
Games?
No, we played Conan. I always feel like I'm name dropping when I'm talking about John, but John, we've just become very good friends over the years.
Really good friends.
Yeah, so like we do occasional like Zoom meetings, just John and myself and our friend Ed, and just to catch up with each other. I introduced him to Dungeon Crawler Carl.
Yeah.
Which I was super reluctant to introduce a professional author to that goofy audiobook. And next thing I know, he comes back. He's like, I'm on book 3. Let's talk about it. I'm like, okay. He listened to the whole series. He loved it.
Ed
loving it
too, right?
Yeah. Both Ed and John did.
Nice. Yeah, it's so fun.
So yeah, we're gonna I think we're going down tomorrow to Cheyenne's.
Yeah.
Cheyenne's house for some board game down in Southern California.
Board game weekend.
Yeah, we're gonna drive down there. And Shell
I'll
said,
be missing that.
We're taking Dwellings.
Yep, Dwellings
Nice.
Eldervale.
Black Rose War.
Oh yeah, because I'm not going to be there.
The Merchants of the Dark Road.
No, we weren't going to take that.
We're not.
No.
Oh,
The boat game.
Oh yeah, Unfathomable.
Unfathomable.
Nice.
That's the Cthulhu
I
one.
think those are the 3.
Yeah.
But my point in saying we're going down there is Shell was like, we can listen to a bunch of Dungeon Crawler Carl on the way because she's still
I'm
listening.
still behind. I'm on book.
Well, you haven't
4.
finished yet. Whoa.
I'm on book 4.
Yeah.
I'm not in the car
No.
often enough to, and that's where I listen.
So usually when we drive long distances, she'll listen. All right.
That is a good long distance drive. Okay.
Okay.
My cards are done.
Next, how's it going over there? How's your painting doing?
You know, I got
edging.
I know
Yeah,
my
you can.
camera's a little bit too pulled back here. I'm doing decals today for everybody
Yeah.
watching, which
Yeah, you can see the
probably-
edging here that I'm getting done.
get the
You can
close-up
see this
shot.
is where
Getting
this is where
some
it's
nice decals going on
that's where it's
the sides
flaking
of
off.
these little.
I'm really disappointed about that. All right. All right. I did do a bunch of reconstructive surgery on this Land Raider, though. I
Yeah.
changed where the doors were located, put the new Forge World doors on that I had sitting in a box. That was kind of
It
what
is
led
the
me.
it's the vehicle to put them on. So
Yeah.
you had them.
It's a shame they don't sell those anymore, man. They were great.
Yeah. They had so much character and just personality to them.
Yeah. I mean, if you see like my rhinos have the extra chaos armor on them.
Yeah.
You know, I remember somebody asked, "Oh, did you print that?" Or no, that's Forge World stuff they used to sell. They don't sell that anymore. I miss Forge World doing Imperial armor books. Oh man, I loved Imperial armor books so much.
All the extra goodies. Remember,
Yep.
was it? I almost called it 10 bits because that was the paint, but the brass. You could get the extra brass pieces.
Yep.
To just add
I have
more.
I have a bunch of those too.
I had all that for my Grey Knights army back in 5th edition, which was pretty cool. Just so much more personality. All the
But instead we
inquisitional
get
eyes and
instead we get an awesome website. Okay. Do you have another topic? I have a topic if you don't.
My question for you, with how prolifically you're going through the Black Legion, is what's
Yes,
next
sir.
for you?
Black Legion. Dude, don't even get me started on what's next. Seriously, like
I know you have more Black Legion above and beyond the 2,000 point list. But
oh my god, I have so much.
At this rate, okay, it's just gonna endless Black Legion.
No, I don't think so. But this will be an army that I continue to grow. Right, like I've got this one unit I built, and they actually don't conform to rules. The equipment that is on them doesn't conform to rules.
Sure.
In this case, I have a Chaos Lord, but it's like a Corn Chaos Lord, and he has a shield. Right, I kit bash this thing together where he's carrying this shield from the fantasy line. Now,
nice.
Chaos Lords can't carry storm shields, right?
Yeah.
So it's fine. I use him as like it counts as he has just like one of the great weapons, like the two-handed weapons or whatnot.
Sure.
And I ignore the shield. It's just there for looks, right?
It just looks cool.
Yeah, it just looks cool. So those guys will be, and I have like a group. This is why you're supposed to bring me that corn head from Brian Harvey.
So we have a question out here.
Okay, fire away.
Do you guys have things you're hoping to see GW release?
Ooh.
Wish list items for the near future.
My wish list is very short because I already know Spartans are coming for Legions Imperialis, so I'll jump in here and then hand it over to Carl.
Stupid Imperialis.
Warp spiders, plastic warp spiders. That is top of my list.
Yeah. Oh yeah, because you're doing that Eldar army.
That's right.
Forgot about that. That's interesting. That's top of your list. Anything else leap out?
I will never be sad for more Necromunda weirdos. Things that bring more of that kind of Blanchitsu aspect of 40K to life. Like the Imperial Agents box, like more things along that. For me, it could potentially have some rule sets. Like I wouldn't be bad to see a revisitation of Battlefleet Gothic or Mordheim. Those kinds of things. But from a just straight model standpoint, right now it's definitely the Warp Spiders.
That is freaking not what I need. Like I do not need them to come out with Mordheim right now. I really don't. Like I'm so jazzed about 40K. After our game, I was so excited about Warhammer 40,000. I'm like, I'm getting more games of this in. What do I want to see? I want to see a really thorough Chaos Codex. right?
Yeah.
Chaos Space Marine Codex. I would like to
Absolutely.
see. Yeah, I miss those. I missed the 4th edition Chaos Codex, or 3rd edition 3.5 it was, where you could assign all these cool things. I'm very interested in seeing that codex. Like, take your time on it, have it come out late. That's fine. Please make it good. Unfortunately, I know how fast they turn this stuff around, so I know that, like, it's a crapshoot. It's a crapshoot if it's going to be a good one or not. I sure hope it is, though. I hope it's thematic. So I'm looking forward to that, especially since I'm investing so much work right now in this Black Legion list. What do I want to see model wise? That's a good question. I kind of bought all the models I need at the moment, kind of leading to what Josh was saying a minute ago. What are you going to do next? Well, I've got a huge amount of Sisters of Battle assembled as well. And
That was
those are
part of my question, is knowing how
Yeah.
much Black Legion stuff you have, but also how much of the sisters you have in the wings. Are you going to jump on
I have a
sisters,
ton.
or really just keep doubling down on Black Legion until you feel like that's really, really in a done spot?
The latter. Yeah. I'm gonna double down on Black Legion until the codex comes out and I get a sense of, okay, I've got not just one single list, but I have enough units representative to play kind of whatever I want to do for any given thing.
Yeah, get some good
I
variety baked in.
Yeah, if those people in chat haven't seen it, but I did go on play on tabletop and I played my Thousand Suns / Demons list there, and a lot of the criticism I'm seeing in the chat there was like, oh, this Thousand Suns player doesn't know what he's doing, blah blah blah. You should have more of these units and more of these units. And I'm like, yeah, that's cool. If you want to play a tournament game, that's exactly what you should bring. I sent my list to them ahead of time, to get a sense of, here, I just want to show off like a representative army of what I think could be fun. And so I had enough units that I could do that. I could also have brought a tournament list, but I that's not me.
That's not you.
No.
Not the way you
Right.
Nah.
Yeah.
And so I want to have enough Black Legion done that I can draw upon whatever I want to draw upon, or whatever. And I have all those models purchased. I don't have to run out and buy anything else at this point for Black Legion. I don't have to run out and buy anything else for Sisters of Battle either.
Right.
So getting back to Francis Grant's question of what do I want to see? I want to see a really good codex for Black Legion, for Chaos Space Marines. I think they've not had a really solid delivered codex in quite some time. I didn't hate their 5th edition codex as much as everybody else did, but I didn't have the 3.5 codex, so I didn't see what was missing. One thing I loved about that codex was you could play a variety of styles of armies. I could play Death Guard, I could play whatever. Well, now those all have their own thing, other than like followers of Slanesh. I think if you're asking me, like, what do I want to see? I want to see them bring a plastic a fulcrum to the table. That Forge World one is absolutely stunning, but I want to see that Demon Primarch in 40K.
I
think that's what
I actually play with without fear of destroying it.
Of snapping it. Yeah, boy, he looks so fragile, and just transporting him is probably a nightmare.
Yep.
But good God, he's amazing. Like, that is
gorgeous. Absolutely.
That is probably the best model I've ever seen from a looks standpoint.
Yeah.
From a playability standpoint, I have no idea. It sure looks. I've seen people paint him, and I'm like, oh my God, that is an ordeal. Like, to paint him up to the level that they're trying to paint him up to. I'd like to see Caleb attack that.
Oh yeah.
I think Caleb would do that guy so much justice. That would be awesome.
Jonathan Rice says, love the idea of Abaddon getting upset with the Lord and the Legion not having conformity in his war game.
Yeah. Well, so going back to that, those guys are going to be part of my Hounds of Abaddon.
What's it like to be dead?
What do you say?
A different comment. Sorry.
Oh, no, it's okay. The Hounds of Abaddon. So I'm actually painting them black, and then the shoulder pad will be red for the corn guys, for the berserkers. And it's just a small unit of them. You know, I've seen it done really well. Somebody earlier was talking about in the chat shell. They said they like the Blood Angels have different color schemes. Yeah. I like that too. I like that a whole bunch. And that's one of the things I'm going to kind of dig here is like, they're still going to be Black Legion. You'll notice they're Black Legion, but they're going to have like one offsetting piece to them. I'm going to do the same thing with probably a squad of 1,000 Suns. So I'm not just taking my regular 1,000 Suns and sticking them in there. I'll have some Tzeentch worshipping Black Legion guys. Man,
You'll do that for tacticals, or bring it into like your Chaos Sorcerer, for example.
Oh no! To like you can ally in those units from those codexes. So that's what I'll do. But I'm gonna I think I might read Black Legion and Talon of Horus again. Man, that's
so good.
That's my favorite. Those are my favorites.
Those are both great books. Maybe a good book club start.
Going back to Francis' point, the other thing I'd like to see is the next book in the Black Legion series. I actually reached out to ADB about that just about a week ago. I was chatting with him, and I was like, "So how's it going with this?" He's like, "Not good." He's like, "Not good." You know, he is now working directly for GW, as opposed to just being an author. Yeah. And so he's finding his time a little pressed there. You know, he was never the fastest the writer,
Completer.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, you know, I'm a little disappointed that that's not come out yet. I love that guy so much, but man, he is.
I don't know if you saw Francis that asked great answers. What about the new book series now that Horus Heresy's in it?
Oh, what do I want to see there?
What would be a good series?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of rumor going around about the Scouring, which is, you know, them now that the Chaos forces have broken and been routed, them chasing them back to the Eye of Terror and kind of slaughtering them as they go. I would be down with that for sure. Like I would love to see it. Where I'm not going to give any spoilers, but where the book ends, the last book of the Siege of Terra ends, leaves a lot of room for some additional stuff to happen. But boy, the Siege of Terra is definitely over. It's done. It's done. And yeah. And I'm glad for it, to be honest with you. I think they got a little too long in the tooth. That being said, I thought it was a satisfactory ending. I thought the third book was better than the second one of the final three. But boy, I guess I didn't really expect the Emperor to get his butt kicked so hard throughout the fight. I mean, I know where everything winds up.
Well, you know he's got to get plugged into the Golden Throne. But
yeah, for sure. But I thought he kind of, you know, from everything we knew before, I thought he kind of showed up, sees the scene, starts getting in a fight. In the process of defeating Horus, gets jacked up. This is more like...
You're not giving away spoilers, are you?
No, this is no real spoiler.
Okay.
Everybody knows that, right? Okay. Everybody knows where those things wind up.
Right.
I'm just saying the process it takes to get there
was shocking.
Was a lot. It was brutal. It was brutal. It was brutal, and it was and sometimes it was hard to listen to. It was like so brutal. Huh. Yeah. So anyway, I enjoyed it. So yeah, the Scouring I think would be next, but also I'd like to just see them continue to maybe go forward a little bit rather than look back.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
I have no idea how popular they are, but I've really been enjoying the Warhammer crime novels. There's only maybe 4 of them.
Yeah.
There's one series specifically on Varangantua, and then there's 1 or 2 more that branch off of that. But it's really just, it's like investigation, and it really just does such a good job of bringing the 40K world to life out away from the battlefield. I've enjoyed those quite a bit, so I'd love to see
Interesting.
more of those.
I don't
Yeah.
think I've read any of those. I've read a couple of the horror ones. One I read, like, horror is such, I think, a hard thing to write, and unless you're Stephen King. And the one I did read recently, the big reveal at the end, like, you saw coming from a mile away.
Yeah. And I absolutely
I
have to
haven't-
say that I would love to see the next Sharkadons book, the Carcharodons. There's
Josh, I'm
Red
getting
Tide and Outer Dark. Like, I would love to see that 3rd book come out because they left it in such a cool place.
Yeah.
But I don't
Josh,
even
I'm
know if
getting
they're
a note.
playing.
I'm getting a note here that your browser is having issues with recording, and you should refresh your browser. Yeah.
Oh.
It says issue Josh's browser is preventing recording.
That's recording, but it shouldn't be affecting the live stream.
Okay. All right.
We don't need the record after fact because YouTube's already recording. So.
Okay. Got it.
I think
Cool.
we're good.
Cool. So yeah, I mean, that's a really great question. Let's see what else we got here. Rye Lion question: why are the Eldar simultaneously the original rogue trader, true to form, and the most overpowered over 40 years? I gotta tell you about the Eldar. When we did the show of force on Eldar, my eyes were kind of opened on how amazing the writing and the creation of an entire race was, and how it has not deviated pretty much at all from the point that they were conceived. Yeah, I mean, it is still there and still the same and really well fleshed out and thought out. Why are they so powerful? I have my thoughts on that, and one of those thoughts is everybody has this idea, like, well, like, this is my take. The Eldar, when they came out, they're like, well, the Eldar are supposed to be a little faster than humans, right? So we should have them not move 6 inches; they should move 7 inches. Okay. And then somebody else comes along and they're like, well, they're also supposed to be super dexterous. So now I'm just going to start making stuff up. But I'm like, we should have them be able to get 1 extra attack because they're so fast, right? And then, like, somewhere along the line, you start here and you move your way down the path, and nobody ever looks back and says, well, wait a minute, we're already accounting for them being faster, and we've added now 3 or 4 things that make them better. I saw the same thing happen in 2nd edition Dungeons and Dragons with elves too. So,
to make them thematic, you overpower them.
They overpower them. Yeah.
Elves always get the love.
Elves always get the love.
I'll give you the simple answer: is they're a dying race. So if they aren't winning games, they're gone.
Yeah, that's true. That's funny. That's funny. All right, I'm just about done with my edge highlighter here. There's still more. There's always gonna be. Oh, and I have all those weapons over there I gotta do. Aaron magnetized this Land Raider for me. This is one of the first Chaos Land Raiders I had, and Aaron magnetized it for me. Back when we called him Magneto.
Yeah.
Because he would magnetize everything. And so these, Josh, check this out. These las cannons snap in there, right? But the funny thing is, they kind of wind up going kind of all over the place when you're playing with it. But they do snap in there, and it's looking pretty good. I actually like the way I've done the las cannons. I got to glow up the gold a little bit.
Magnetize my Land Raider to swap between options as needed, which I of course never do.
Yeah.
But I actually ended up putting a rod in between with magnets in between, so that like there's a rod in the middle that the two las cannon sponsons will snap onto on either side, which worked out
Oh,
pretty
nice.
well. I just thought it was a clever solution.
One of the issues is though, Aaron is not as liberal with glue as I am, and so like I was messing around with it, like it starts kind of falling apart, and I'm like, what the is? I had to go in and fix a bunch of stuff.
You have to reglue all the magnets that because when those magnets hit, like they can have a decent force. Like it'll pop.
It wasn't
it'll
just
pop
magnets,
off.
like
He built the whole thing.
yeah, he built the whole
He
thing.
built the
Oh,
whole thing.
okay.
So like literally parts of the Land Raider were coming apart. I'm like, dude, you gotta, unless you're using plastic glue,
Plastic
you
glue all the way.
gotta use some more super glue. Oh man, I do not like edge highlighting. Have I told you that? I chose the wrong army if I don't like
Yeah,
edge
you did.
highlighting, that's for sure. Jeez. I used to think, oh, painting black must be so easy, right? You just spray it and then it's black. Yeah, no. Then stupid Caleb, stupid classes taught me how stupid I am.
I mean that is a way to do it.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I guess. Looks terrible. I am really happy with the way the army's coming out though. And
Yeah.
you know, people talk about the gold filigree, like the on all the units. I don't find it to be that bad. I don't find it to be, you know, too terrible.
Painting it or
Painting it, yeah, I kind of enjoy painting it, to be honest with you. I kind of like it. Yeah. I like it more than the edge highlighting, I'll tell you that. Although now that I've got a bunch of the edge highlighting done on this, I'm like, all right, no.
I don't enjoy the
worth,
process of edge highlighting.
it was
but
worth
I
it.
absolutely love the results.
Yeah, for sure.
all right, Francis wants to know if you're gonna get a show of force Votan.
Yes, we are. However, I think we're gonna wait until a
for the
codex comes out. Yeah, I mean, we might as well, right? Because there's so much that's going to change between now and then. You know, I'd like to see Votan get some more units too. They are very.
Yeah, I have to imagine they'll get a pretty robust release when that new codex.
Oh, I'll
comes
bet
out.
you. I'll bet you're right. I'll bet you're right. Like the way we saw that Tyrannid release was insane. Honestly, they released so much Tyrannid stuff. I was blown away. I got to imagine when they do the Votan, they're going to do a pretty healthy release. I think they're a cool army.
What is Votan?
They're like the space dwarves.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've seen them.
Yeah, Doug's box of them is under there.
I suspect they will probably be the largest release of 10th edition.
Yeah. That's true. Francis, do you have Votan? I'm always curious about the people who are collecting it
He
because
says he feels like he knows nothing about this faction.
oh yeah, they have. I gotta tell you, like I think
Their lore is actually really cool.
their lore is really cool. Yeah, with the artificial intelligences and stuff.
And the cloning, like they're not true squats. They're actually clones of squats that have spread
they're
out
the
throughout
squats.
the.
Yeah.
Okay.
Squats were the dwarves.
Right. Okay. Got it.
Yeah, more of the evolution / ancestors of the squats.
And originally they got rid of them because they kind of just didn't know how to fit them into the game and have them be so different from other armies that they were like, you know, what role are they really fulfilling here? And so they got rid of them by basically saying, well, the Tyrannids ate them.
Yeah.
And so people always talk about armies getting removed as being squatted. You know?
Got it.
That's a good question, though. Yeah, that's a really good point. I would love to do a show of force on Votan, to be perfectly honest. I just think they got to get a little bit more there so that we can make that.
Yep.
So we're not having to go back and do more right when they come out.
I've really enjoyed the lore, but I think absolutely wait for the codex.
Yeah, we try to also do our content as what you call like evergreen content. So like, even though we're waiting for the codex, it's not going to be like us just going over the codex stats. Like there's going to be so much more there. And I think who we might bring on for that might be Tom. Tom was a huge squats fan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think he still has a bunch. And so he would be excellent as part of like what role did they play in 40K and what's the history of them. And we haven't had Tom on in a long time.
Yeah. That's a great idea.
To that point, Evergreen, I recently went back and listened to the Blood Angels show of Force.
Yeah.
Gangrel 767.
Did he say anything else about that?
No, that's
Oh, did he have Blood Angels before?
Rod Tibbett said show of Force apps should be sponsored by GW with the amount of product.
Okay, so
okay, here we are again.
Yeah, so listen, this next episode coming out, I don't know if you were around when I was talking about that earlier, but this next episode coming out, I've done so far a lot of looking at collecting things and fear of missing out and how that plays into psychology about taking things and buying them and developing your closet of shame or closet of opportunity or potential or whatever you want to call it.
Garage.
And I have
for some of us.
House of opportunity.
Yeah. And I have to tell you, I have to tell you, like, I feel a little guilty. Like, I feel like I have encouraged some poor behavior on parts of people. And you know, I mean, we always joke that, like, you know, purchases is progress. And I still believe that. Like, I still believe that. However, it's only progress if you're going to actually do that thing, right? And my problem is, and this is kind of giving a preview to a lot of what I want to talk about in the other show, but you know, how many things have I bought that I've been like, oh, I really want to do this project. It's going to be really cool, yada, yada. And then it just sits there because I'm doing a bunch of other stuff, you know? So I think as I've gotten
really cool.
They are really cool. You're not helping my point here, Josh.
I mean, there's just too many cool things to do. We don't have enough time. That's the problem. We just need more time.
Well, based on the fact that we're probably not going to get more time, I think, you know, people got to look and myself, like, I got to look, and we've been talking about this lately about thinning out what I have and blah, blah, blah. I got to go take a serious look at a bunch of stuff projects that I'm never going to get to, that I'd love to. What are you doing?
That's my wife in the background making the noise.
Steph, trying to record a show here. No, you know, I got to look at a lot of projects that I had kind of sitting back there and be truthful with myself that these things are not likely going to happen. Going kind of to our previous point of, you know, what do you want to do next? Well, it's going to pretty much be this and Sisters of Battle eventually. And so anything outside of that, I need to get real with myself and say, okay, this is likely not going to happen. So what are we going to do? Now, it's hard to let go of stuff once you own it, right? It's hard to say, okay, I'm going to sell this off, but it's becoming easier for me.
Yeah, I mean, the opportunity cost is already paid, but if you can roll that into another project or
but I've got enough projects, I think, is the point.
Exactly. I'm in the same place. I'm definitely paring down and focusing these days.
Yeah. Like the other thing I looked at was like Tyranids, and I'd be like, oh man, these new Tyranids are cool. I've had fun playing my Tyranids. Maybe I should do Tyranids. I'm like, what am I doing? You know, I'm not going to play Tyranids. I'm not going to do it. I'd love to. Not enough time.
See, Tom says part of the hobby is collecting. I get joy from just looking at my boxed minis.
And okay, listen, if
but
in all seriousness, if that is providing you joy, looking at your boxes on your shelf, then continue. By all means, continue. Like there's nothing wrong with doing something you enjoy. And I'm going to shut up because I'm using a bunch of the stuff I want to.
Change topics.
Yeah, we got to change topics because
new Grey Knights would be an instant buy for me, says Francis.
Primaris size Grey Knights, ooh, buddy.
They would look so sexy. Good.
Those would be so fun.
Show of force is pure love and appreciation of the faction.
It is. It is. And that was
Yeah.
kind of the objective from the get-go. And listen, I recognize that those things are dangerous. I felt a foul of it myself with the Custodes. We did that show of force Custodes. I was like, I'm going to do a Custodes army. And I bought a bunch of stuff. And I got real with myself. I'm like, this is not going to happen. What am I doing?
All right, let's see. Francis says, BA show of force inspired my army.
Okay.
And then Grangle, who was the other one we're talking about, I have started and stopped building Blood Angels about 5 times in my history as a 40K player.
Interesting.
I love show of force episodes. My favorite, Warrior Lodge, close second.
Yeah. I really like the show of force episodes as well. They take a whole lot of effort to put together, but they are really fun. We're going to, because we've done most of the factions other than Votan. I think we've done every other faction.
Yeah.
If I'm missing a faction, let me know.
For the break.
Yeah, if I'm missing a faction, let me know and we'll get to it. But I think that we're going to be looking closely. We're going to be kind of applying that same show of force mentality to Necromunda games. And so we've already done 1 or 2 of the. I think we've done 1 of those so far, and we had Campbell on. But we've got
we
a
did
couple
2
more
of
in the
those. We
pipeline.
did and Goliath.
Goliath, yeah. But we're gonna continue to do those. So I apologize if you weren't into Necromunda. You might be after those. But
as codexes come out, though, we will also we have Necrons and Mechanicus codexes, so we will be revisiting and updating those as well as things have changed.
Yeah, and I think we can kind of do those as like we did the Space Marine Tyranid, like we can pair them together.
I try.
Because there's just not enough there, I think, for a full show. I don't want to, delve into all the details. One of the things I absolutely hated towards the end of the original 40K radio was, because I loved that show back when Spencer and those guys were on it. One of the things I absolutely did not like was when they were, I remember them distinctly just sitting there reading the units of a codex off.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is terrible. I don't want to listen to this. So I don't want to put out something I wouldn't want to listen to. But Show of Force was one of those things where, I mean, we used to joke, we used to have an ad that said, we don't do codex overviews because our listeners can read. that was the line we had. And when I proposed Show of Force, Jeff was like, "But you said we don't do codex overviews. We don't do them." And I'm like, "This isn't a codex overview. It's an all-encompassing look at the army."
Totally different, and it is. It really is.
And it is. Yeah, I think, and they are. Somebody said it's. Oh, I'm glad you liked that, Gangrel. Thanks. I wasn't sure. But we can see in the download numbers, like the Show of Force episodes hit hard. I'm glad somebody else likes. I'm glad somebody else likes Warrior Lodge though too, because I really enjoy the Warrior Lodge episodes.
We've gotten so much positive comments on the last one with the Badcast 40K Badcast.
Oh yeah, those guys are great though. I mean,
it was fun, great insights. Yeah, super fun show. And
Dan had some really good insights on
got some great deep thoughts out of Campbell and some great insights out of Dan. That was a quality show.
We should have stolen a thing from their playbook and done a Factor fan fiction.
Oh yeah, we'll save that for when we're on their show.
Yeah, I'm sure we will be on their show in no time, or maybe not. Maybe they hate us. Nah, they don't. They were so happy to come on the show and hang out with us. They're great guys. They're great guys. I still don't know what the hell I was thinking when I brought Campbell with us on that trip to Europe. Like, what the hell's the matter with me, Michelle?
Some random friend you met on the internet?
Just some random guys I meet on the internet. I'm like, yeah, why don't you come over to Europe? We're going to Europe. You want to go? He's like, yeah, okay. I'm like, I don't know this guy. What am I doing?
I mean, that's what happened with Jeff.
That's what happened with Doug.
With Doug, with a number of people.
See, aren't you glad I did that with Doug? We wouldn't have known Doug
Sleeping
if
on my couch.
I hadn't done that.
Hey,
That was
you
Jeff.
should start a
Jeff was
online
there.
dating site, Carl. You're doing well.
Do an online men seeking men
Yeah,
to game with.
exactly.
You have to quantify that. To game with. Or not. Whatever. No judgment.
Overlords was Jason's.
Jason was on the
Yeah.
Overlords.
Ron Tibbet said crossover episodes are great. First time he ever heard you was on an old Overlord.
Oh, really? Oh, that's interesting. Was I wonder if that was when I was actually, oh God, please tell me that wasn't when I was singing Billy Joel. I cannot sing. I cannot sing at all. At all. But and stupid Jason made me sing. Oh God, I hate that guy. I love him so much. I miss him. Was I actually there? I don't know if he remembers if I was actually in country when he heard me there. Because I think I joined them remotely a couple times, but I know I joined them when I went out there. Boy, I got really lucky that my work at the time had an
Belfast
office in Belfast that allowed us to go out there quite a bit, and then just extend the weekend and hop over to London or Nottingham. That's not happening anymore, Shell.
Nope.
We'll get back there sometime.
Yep, I've got a trip to Warhammer World in my future for sure. Just not on the books yet.
You have not been? You have
I've
not been.
I've been to the UK several times, but have not been to Nottingham yet.
It's worth it.
I love Nottingham.
Yeah.
It's just a fun city.
All right.
Yeah.
Decals are done.
Are you done? You just got to see
Decals
them.
are done.
Grangel's good
I
friends
will.
with Loopy
Oh,
and used to love hearing him pop on to the show occasionally.
yeah. I was just actually thinking about Loopy the other day and thinking we should have him on for something too. I really like Loopy. He's
good people.
He went
Another man you met on the internet that
who
came
went to
stay
Europe
at
with
my house.
us, and he wore that stupid hat the whole time. He was in Europe. He had this kind of giant fluffy top hat with the British, it was the British colors, and I'm just like, oh my God, dude, you look like such a tourist. Not that we all don't, but you're advertising.
But he
that,
embraced it.
He embraces life, man. Loopy's
He's not afraid of life. That's for sure.
no. He's come over here.
Yeah.
He came and stayed with us.
That's what I said.
Oh yeah.
I said he's another one of the men from the internet that stayed at my house.
He did stay here. He is a bundle of energy, Loopy. Great guy though.
Great guy. Yeah.
I'm telling you, this show has afforded me so many friends online. We're going and staying with Craig and Kelly,
Right.
who Craig was still listens to the show. He's not playing 40K right now.
Right.
He keeps wanting to get back into it. But we've just become friends with them
Well, all of our friends we're going to see in Australia
are because of
are
40K.
because of 40K and the show, and
That's true. Jordan Raskopoulos.
Jordan and Jeremy.
Jeremy Woods. Yep. Jeremy's gonna take us out on a boat.
That's
I'm gonna
awesome.
sing. I'm gonna sing. I'm on a boat.
I'm on a boat.
Yeah, or my flippy floppies. Yeah. That's gonna be pretty great. And I'm hoping to see his Titan and his displays and
I don't
stuff.
want to see any of his stuff. His
Oh
stuff is
yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. That's Warhammer World, Australia.
That's right. He said
Jeremy
he's
Woods
gonna.
has.
Yeah, he said, "Do you want to see it?" I said, "Heck yeah."
Yeah.
Heck yeah, I
Yes.
do. Okay. All right. You know what? I'm done. I keep saying I'm done and I'm not done. I'm done with the edge highlighting. I'm going to do a little bit of, I think, sponging. I don't have a sponge right here right now. I'm going to stand up and get another color here in a second because I want to experiment with something on these tracks, these treads. Okay. I think I've got a lot of the edging done. Probably not every edge is covered, but enough are covered that it'll give the illusion. Oh wait, I missed this guy. This guy's got to get edged. Damn it! Just when they think you're done.
They drag
Yeah.
it back in.
All right. Crossover episodes are great. First time I heard Carl's on Overlords. Yeah, you said that one already. Yeah. Recurring episodes with the Badcast is what Francis said. Team of 4. Start a whole new podcast. No, Arya doesn't like that idea.
Yeah, Arya said no. That was clear.
Only if we talk about space wolves.
Siberian Husky. All right, Arya. It's not time for dinner yet. Yeah, I have to say I have that recording that last episode with Dan and Campbell was I knew we were going really long, but I was having so much fun just chatting.
You guys were laughing so hard.
Yeah. that I was like, all right, finally I was like, all right, we got to wrap this up. This is ridiculous. So I think more of those are definitely in our future. Especially, the thing is, I think Campbell and Dan, even though they are a little more adult in their language than we like to be on the ICs. I mean, I don't begrudge them that. That's fine. Listen, when people meet me in person, and then I swear their mind is blown. I just heard Carl say, but
the things I've heard Carl say.
Yeah, I'm sure. But it's interesting how I can just turn it off automatically.
Yeah.
Once the mics come on, like I've gotten so used to just.
Yeah, for me, it's not conscious at all. It's just, all
Yeah.
right, it's go time.
Yeah, I don't really think about it. But if we join their show, I'm almost intentionally going to start swearing.
Francis wants to know if we're going to get to hear from Justin soon.
I would love to.
We miss him too. He lives in the same town as us, and we don't see him.
And this is not a big town.
No.
I don't know what the population of our town is. But I would love for Justin to be on. Justin's dealing with a lot of life stuff, being a dad, and this, that, and the other thing, and so for him, I don't think his focus has really been on Warhammer right now. And so while we had him on recently, like it became kind of evident to me too that like Justin hadn't played anything and didn't seem close to playing anything. And he's like, well, I'm listening to a lot of podcasts about playing. And I'm like, okay, yeah, but I need you to develop your own opinion to be on the show. Right. And I think that's not unreasonable.
Paint some models. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I saw that he's done a little bit of painting. I would love for Justin, and we don't see Justin as much as we used to, like just because he's off with kids and stuff. Now he said we do have a game day coming up here, which is mostly board games.
Did you say he's coming?
And he's listed himself as coming, and that's for kind of my birthday and the fact that we've all bought Kickstarters that we're not playing.
I thought it was a good excuse.
It is.
It is a good excuse. I love that you threw it out there.
Michelle brought that.
I jumped right on that.
So I too would very much like to have Justin back on the show and active in the gaming group, and so I keep inviting him. But Justin's also one of those guys that's like, hey, he'll message me. He's like, you want to play 40K in an hour? And I'm like, dude, I can't. Like, I'm in the middle of doing stuff. I can't stop and drop and go play right away. Like for me, it's much more about you got to schedule time with me to play. And with Justin, it's spontaneous.
When he has the moment, he has the moment.
Yeah. And that's fine. But I can't really operate like that, unfortunately. So
makes it a lot harder to record, especially for shows that need prep work.
Yeah. And looking at like what we have coming up, a lot of the shows need some prep. All right. Am I done with edging now?
Yeah. Justin
Still
was
have to
supposed to
paint.
join us for the Dalok episode because he's also a fellow Dalok player, but
Yeah, but then I think he bailed out at last minute or
he had
something
a
happened.
scheduling conflict last minute. Yeah.
Yep. So, yeah, and some of our players who were regulars on the show are either not playing, are involved in other things right now, or
I've moved out of town.
moved out of
Moved out
town.
of state.
Yeah, that's true. Moved out of state. But I gotta say, once you and Bryce and myself and Aaron played that game, like I got super. I don't know what it was about it. That game in particular, I got super excited about 40K and playing 40K and being like, all right, let's drive some people to play.
Yeah, I mean the last 2 games you and I played with the Sharks and Tyranids, and then that team game, like have all been
Yeah, those are
super
great.
fun games of 40K. Like,
All right, that looks pretty good.
the game is in a
Looks
really fun
pretty
place
good.
right now, and
I
it
agree.
gets more gameplay.
All right, I'm gonna step away just for a second to grab different color paint. I'll be right back.
Right. For those still watching, I've pivoted over to painting some Legions Imperialis Order tokens. I've got all the candy red going on those already, and now I'm just going for the white. And these are resin 3D printed ones that show off the order on one side or the other there. Getting these ready for Adepticon.
Okay, here's another question that I know you've already answered in the past, but would you ever entertain the thought of doing a live stream Warrior Lodge during one of your game days?
Ooh,
Maybe-
during a game
Maybe
day.
just an hour or so.
During a game day, like a live stream Warrior Lodge would not be
The worst.
the worst. Like that actually is quite doable.
We
What I
did
really
one
like
years ago.
what
Yeah.
I really like about the Warrior Lodge is when we pull in people, listeners of the show, and have them share their opinions. I think it speaks right to the core of the show, which is making people feel like they're a part of our gaming group. Because I truly do feel like the listeners are a part of the gaming group.
Yeah.
And that, I mean, like we were just talking about going to see Jeremy Wood, Craig, all those people down in Australia,
Mike and
Emma, all these people down in Australia that, I've never seen before, but we're going to have a great time. I get to meet people at cons and play with them. And then you really are a part of our gaming group. So doing the Warrior Lodge and having listeners as a part of that would be great. During game days, we haven't done a 40K game day in a long time.
No.
We've done
board game
days.
Yeah.
But like I can't say I haven't been thinking about doing a 40K game day since we just played that last game. And I think we need to do something like that to kind of jumpstart people, and we can set up a bunch of tables.
We should do it after Adepticon and after we get back from Australia, because
Yes,
that'll be a good time to
Yeah.
do it.
I agree.
We'll all be riding that Adepticon high, wanting more games, and you'll
Right.
be
That's true.
riding that. You missed out on so many fun games.
Right.
That is true.
We will not have played in so long.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. So, yeah, I think I would be, and and if we plan for it, doing a Warrior Lodge during that, we could. Let me think about how we would do that. But like, we could have the topics, and then, just grab. It wouldn't even have to necessarily be the same people because we'd have so many people there.
Yeah.
We could have them step in. What do you think about X, Y, or Z? That
Just
could be
hot takes
interesting.
and walk away.
Hot takes. There you go. The Warrior Lodge
Warrior
hot
hot
takes. I like that. Okay, this is not working how I thought it would work. This Rise of Rust stuff. Sometimes it works really well. This does not appear to be one of those times. I think I'm brushing off.
You
too
doing
much.
Rust?
Yeah, a little bit of just kind of orange rust on the tracks. Oh, there we go. Oh, that looks really good.
I cleaned up my desk for all the extraneous stuff, but there's actually that like Rust specific effect paint I've been using.
Yeah, that's what I'm
It
using.
works so well.
The
Okay.
the dry stuff, the GW dry stuff.
No, it's not GW. I don't have the bottle in front of me.
Oh,
But it's a liquid. It does smell terrible. Probably causes cancer, but it looks so good.
yeah, this actually worked really well. I don't know if you'll be able to see very well on the.
I guess.
Let me get a little light on there. That's too much
Yeah,
light.
you're out of your light there.
But you can
Oh, yeah.
see, yeah, down
little
from the
pigment.
silver, like you can see the two. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna wash that down a little bit with a wash, so it'll look even darker. But yeah, this is the way to go. This looks good.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah. I may have to go back and do this on my rhinos. So yeah, it's interesting that warrior lodges are hitting so well with people. Maybe we should open too, before doing a warrior lodge. Like hey, is there any topic, and
Yeah.
have people feed in a few ideas of things they want to hear about. But
Yeah, questions from the community for topics on
yeah,
that.
yeah, I generally feel like when podcasts do that, it's a bit of a cop out. Like they're not willing to put in the work to come up with the topics themselves, and but I think in this regard,
There's two sides to that. There's also people have ideas that maybe haven't
exactly.
come up with,
Yeah, exactly, Shell.
or they have things they want to know about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, in a sense, it gives them a little more agency in the show. Just like as much agency as Arya whining in the background.
I don't know why she's
All right, we started 13 minutes late, Josh.
Yeah,
So we
so
gotta
we're at 6 here, but I'll happily go.
I didn't realize we were already
Later.
at 6, but I think we go another 15 minutes or so.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Enough for me to get this rust on here and the wash. Oh yeah,
I gotta do
It's the
my
Land
second
Raider, buddy.
coat of white here on my.
I like some.
Oh, Carl, you stepped away. You missed out. But here are the 3D printed tokens I'm doing for the.
Oh, look
orders
at
here.
those.
So that's the candy red. Then I'll get back in the red, and then
Yeah.
on the back side, I'm going to be color coordinating.
Bring
each
it a
of
little
these
closer to the
orders.
camera. That side. Yeah,
I'm just trying to
Yeah,
stay
yeah.
in the light there, but yeah.
that looks good.
Yeah, they turned out really well. Very happy with them. So just going through and painting them now and to get them ready for Adepticon.
You are a Legions Imperialis fan. I've kind of
you
fallen
know,
off my progress.
This might
to
be a
Legions
spoiler
Imperialis.
alert from the next episode we record, but it has quickly become my
Baldur's Gate
favorite
for a
game.
couple hours.
We said what about Baldur's Gate?
Grango's leaving to play Baldur's Gate for a few hours before going to bed.
You know what? I get it. I've played through it. I've played through it almost 2 times now.
Solid choice.
I really
some
did
point.
enjoy Rogue Trader though. I played through that once.
Well, I'm
That's
almost
pretty
done
good.
with Legions Imperialis, so then I can start Room Trader.
Yeah, I think you'll like it.
I
And
wouldn't let
they will have
myself get sucked in.
Yeah, and they will have done a couple patches by the time
Yeah.
you get to it. So because there's some bugs they had to fix and stuff. Oh man, I'm really liking the way this rust is working here. It's pretty easy for this Rise of Rust stuff. It looks so bright. You're like, it's gonna be too bright. But then when you get
It's
it on,
very orange, yeah.
yeah. But when you get it on there, it really kind of blends in well with the tread. It's
It
good.
calms down.
Yeah, it does. That's the word I was looking for. Calms down. That's
Yeah.
a good one. Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, I've gotten a lot of progress done today. I actually had gotten the Land Raider to a point and then held off on doing more for this stream so that I could work through this as I
Get it across the
on
finish line.
on the stream itself. And it's not quite there. I got a few more some more detail work to do and such, and I got to figure out, got to weather over that stuff that's coming off, unfortunately.
So your 2,000 point list is actually almost done at this point. Your initial one.
Very close. Very close. I
What,
have to do
What do you have left? The Fiends, the Muller Fiends, and Forge Fiends?
Mauler Fiend is just, I have one Mauler Fiend in the group so far. I have to finish up another tactical squad.
Well, that's an interesting question. What was a topic you felt you should have done, but now you can't?
Ooh, wow.
That's an interesting question.
We had talked for a long time about doing a series on introducing new players to the game. So like literally teaching people how to play the game. I don't think that's necessary anymore. I think there's a couple out there that people have already done that.
Yeah, especially with YouTube videos.
And it would have been outdated now because the editions have changed. That was one topic I really wanted to do, and we never kind of got around to. What else?
Was that from when we got Mason playing? Is that where that came
No,
from?
no, it was long before then.
Before that.
Yeah, back when Jeff was on.
Got it.
What's a topic we didn't do, but it's too late to do now? That's going to require some thinking on my part. That's a really good question.
Good job, Sherman. You stumped him.
Yeah.
It takes a lot to stump Carl.
Takes a lot to get me to shut up.
Well, that's also part of the planning of the show. Is because we tried to make episodes so evergreen, so that if it's you don't run into the issues of something being so timely that it's not relevant down the line later.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I steered away from that one eventually. But what could we have done, or should we have done, that now it's too late to do?
More Xenos Aeronautica discussion.
Yeah, that's actually
that is too late.
It's too late for Xena Aeronautica. Yeah, that's a really good call. That who said that? Mana Team 6.
Team 6.
Yeah, that's a good call, dude. You got me there. That's funny. I felt like I was so I was so disappointed that right when I got into that game, it was done. And you know, people say they say you can play did games, but come on, let's be realistic. Nobody's really playing did games. I mean, there's a few exceptions to that.
The interesting thing about Aeronautica is that it didn't have like a fast-paced meta. So, and somebody actually brought this up about Middle-earth strategy battle games. Like, it is a great second, third, fourth, fifth game because it's such a slow evolving game. There's very few releases, not a lot changes.
That's a good point. You're not
so that if you're jumping into it's not your primary game, and it's something you don't feel like you have to keep caught up to it. Because it is just kind of, it's a more of a glacial pace. So a dead game, similar, like still a great game, still super fun. You don't have to catch up with anything. So if it's not your main game, like if that was the game you were playing, like obviously that kind of sucks because it's not going to change. But you can.
The show I would love to hear is a pros and cons retro on all editions. You know, it's funny you bring this up because this is actually one of the shows that we have in the list where I would literally I would love to play a game of Rogue Trader. I have never played, you know, the original game. And kind of, looking at the game through the editions is something we have definitely, it's in our list. Now, here's the thing, like one of the reasons I love doing the Warrior Lodge so much is because it's not a heavy lift on our part. The heaviest lift on my part and on Josh's part is coming up with topics that we think are relevant and maybe controversial a little bit that will generate some conversation. That is not the hardest thing in the world to do, especially in where you have fandoms that are so volatile sometimes. That being said, an episode where we go through and play Rogue Trader, second edition, third edition, that is a whole lot of upfront work for a show that, hopefully would hit. I hear Dobby in your
That's my
Yeah,
own
it's
dog. Grimdark
past his dinner time.
that's all right.
He's
We're
waiting for
almost
me
there.
to quit. Yeah.
We're almost there, Dobby.
Rob's got Rogue Trader Pros, Sherlock, Obi-Wan. How would I say that? Clasis? Cons. The book falls apart within minutes of opening it.
Oh, Sherlock Obi-Wan Clouseau.
Clouseau. There we go.
Cons, the book falls apart. Except you can buy a reprinted version of it at Warhammer World.
A
They
show on
just
narrative.
re-released that. Yeah.
Yeah,
A show on narrative gaming or campaign play would be great.
we have done
Maybe,
that.
maybe with tips, ideas, how to tie different systems together.
Yep.
Or add in role playing.
You got to, so some of our historical episodes are currently not available because, quite honestly, the hosting of the website was prohibitively expensive where we had them stored. So we're going to go through, I think, and upload those to our YouTube channel, but we absolutely have an episode on that. Now, there are a few episodes that we have that are lost. Like, I just don't have copies of some of them. I don't know how they got lost. If that is the case, so we can find out which ones are lost and kind of reapproach those things now that we're a little bit older, a little bit hopefully wiser. Don't laugh, Shaw. and have a little more experience. So I'm not against reapproaching things, but I wouldn't want to do it if we already have a whole episode on it. And I know we did a pretty lengthy one on
Narrative
campaigns and how you can tie different games together and that kind of thing. We did an episode. One of the episodes I'm most proud of that Jeff and I did was all about White Dwarf, and it was like how White Dwarf had progressed over time. And we went through and looked at like White Dwarfs, from different eras and stuff. And I feel like it's time to maybe update that one too, because White Dwarf has gone through several iterations since we did that.
Yeah. The narrative playing campaign actually brings me up to one of my prepared topics. And that what game system would you be excited to play as a summer campaign potentially this year?
Either 40K or Necromunda.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I
like the Legions Imperialis, but I don't think enough people are going to be. I think we can do that on the side. To be honest with you, enough people. There is a group that is all in Santa Cruz and Boulder Creek that are into it.
Yeah, we got a nice healthy,
not so much down
healthy
here.
scene.
But I think if we want participation, it's either Necromunda or 40K.
I definitely had Ash Waste campaign,
and I would
mind.
I would be down for either of those. Although right now at the moment my head's in 40K space. So, all right,
we got a couple more.
Any more questions, Shell?
Spencer said that he saw we added a bunch of historical episodes to the RSS feed that feeds Spotify.
Did we? I didn't yet, but they may have come up.
Popped them up.
Yeah, it may have popped them up.
And then Mana Team 6 says something about lore retcons. Or at least shifting narratives over the years would be interesting.
A good example of that is the Abaddon and his 13 Black Crusades, right? Where you have it was kind of retconned that those 13 crusades, each one was not failed, to kind of avoid people calling them fail bad, but they were all incremental steps towards the 13th crusade, which I actually really like the lore of better, if I'm being honest. And so then Abaddon achieves his goals in the 13th Black Crusade. And I love how when people are like, oh, chaos never wins. And I'm like, they tore the galaxy in half. I mean,
that's a pretty big step.
It's a pretty big step. I mean, has it gone and destroyed Terra yet? No, but I mean, geez, that's a pretty big step,
Certainly disrupted the
so yeah, that's actually an interesting idea. Like, where have they shifted the narrative over the years? That's, I think, the biggest and most obvious example of that, but I'm sure there's others too. And listen, if you want to suggest ideas for episodes, the best thing to do would be to email Josh or myself. And you can email us at Carl at the independent characters or Josh at the independent characters. And yeah, I mean, we're always happy to look at suggestions or ideas that people have.
Absolutely.
It's easier than coming up with a bunch. I just added a bunch to the document, Josh. I don't know if you've looked yet, but I added like 10, but like 8 of them require like a lot of effort up front.
Yeah. And it's good to have a cadence of, we need something that's a little bit less research now as we're working on other projects. And yeah.
And so what we'll do is we'll typically intersperse those heavier ones with things like a Warrior Lodge, or like a Show of Force takes a lot of reading and prepping and all that, and sometimes playing, right? Because usually we want to have experience playing the army. Like the Voton one of us is going to have to buckle down and find somebody who's playing Voton and play a game so we can see how it is, or let us use their army to play a game.
You got to buy a Voton army.
Yeah. Mana Team 6 is a good point too. Necrons have changed quite a bit, like especially from where they originated from.
From the
I think it was
Space Raiders to more
5th edition. In 5th edition is where that change took place.
Big change, absolutely.
Oh, I remember that release. I remember that 5th edition release. Like it was right when I was going to Adepticon and stuff all the time, and all of a sudden you had all these flying Necron,
all the croissants
dropping units everywhere. You're a cat, Shell.
She's on my lap again.
Oh, McKenna. Yeah.
She keeps putting her nose on the microphone.
That's okay. That was her meowing into the mic.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, listen, everybody, thanks for joining us. We really appreciate it. Josh and I are using this as a excuse to get some of our hobby done, but also it's great to chat with people and see what ideas you have.
I love the direct interaction with you guys, and
that's my favorite.
Hopefully you're all hopping along with us here too, and not just
and I think we've also talked about potentially pulling people in to the video. If you have like a camera set up and you're working on something, we can send you a link. You can join us for a few minutes and show us what you're working on and stuff. So we'll figure out the logistics of that, but I think that would be a whole lot of fun. So yeah, especially if you're hobbying along with us, that would be great.
As we do these more regularly too, we will obviously have more lead time. At least we gave a couple days lead time today instead of
an hour.
Yeah,
but the first one was intentional. The first one, it was intentional that we did it short,
quietly.
Exactly.
Yeah, we're just trying to test things. Anyway, thank you guys for joining us so much. We love chatting with you, and Josh, thanks for spending time with me and hobbying, and I'm making
always
good progress here. See, look, now these are look at that tread now. Like it looks dirty.
Oh yeah.
Right? It's still drying. But
dirty,
like that orange,
chaotic.
that orange is super dulled.
Yeah.
That looks good, man.
It adds a nice contrast.
Oh yeah.
That black too. And
yeah,
that
I'm gonna go back
well to the kind of green glowing effects you have with all your lights on vehicles. But yeah, it looks good.
I'm gonna go back and do it on my rhinos.
Nice.
So then they all look a little rugged. I'm gonna sponge a bit of brown and then silver on this as well to just weather it up just a little bit. It'll look good. And then so next up for me after the Land Raider is I got to assemble the Mauler Fiend and then paint him. So I'll do that, I think. Just I'm trying to avoid going back to infantry right now. I've done enough infantry. Anyway, thank you guys. Hey, there's Goobertown. I didn't realize Goobertown Hobbies.
He's been in for a while.
Oh, thank you guys for joining us, and we will see you very soon. Episode 233 is releasing. What did we say, Josh? The 26th.
26th.
26th. Yep. And you got a little preview of some of the topics here, so expect to hear a whole lot more. All right, we will talk to you guys very soon. Thank you so much.
All right. Yeah. Thank you all.
All right.